I have always said that one day we are going to wake up in a completely different technological world. Overnight, we are starting to see everything change. I mean, in the last just couple days, we have watched a SAB 121 got repealed, enabling the big banks to jump in to crypto. I mean, this is a big statement because as we really look at the largest enablers of technology, it typically comes from the most adopted players out there. This is also why we've always focused on enterprise when it comes to Hedera, because the enterprises, believe it or not, all it really takes is just one big player to, adopt DLT, offer it to their clients, and now you have almost mass adoption just through one name alone. But in this video, I want to talk about pretty much everything happening. Tokenization, which will lead us down a path to the entire world moving on chain, which will ultimately enable this massive technological revolution to officially take place and be massively adopted. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So I made a post recently on X, and I did say one day in the near future, the world will wake up on digital rails. Almost no one will understand or even notice the tech behind this new efficient world. It will simply be pushed by software updates, maintenance messages. What will be unleashed onto the world will be the power of blockchain and DLT. We are the visionaries of the largest technological revolution in history, and we are only witnessing 1% to about 10% of the potential this space holds. Let me give you a slight insight into what's coming. Tokenization of quadrillions of dollars, 24/7, 365 trading of those dollars, passive income opportunities, institutional DeFi, banks offering clients, this is, again, what I just stated with like SAP 121, offering their clients crypto services. Every single industry and sector in the world digitized completely, and the convergence of AI plus blockchain at scale within every enterprise in the world. Did I miss anything? If I did, it makes this post 10 times even more bullish. At the end of the day, a very small percentage of the global population even understands what's happening right now. Distractions surround us on a day-to-day basis. You need to truly disconnect in order to connect to this underground technological revolution that will soon be in the hands of every individual in the world with a phone or a computer. The greatest technological revolution in history is now upon us, and this will reshape the world for the next 100 plus years. I hope you have researched, studied, paid attention, and planned accordingly. And yes, listen, if we go over here, we have BlackRock, the largest asset management company out there in the world. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says he wants the SEC to approve the tokenization of bonds and stocks. If BlackRock is putting the pressure on, you know that this is going to be pushed. And here we have the video of Larry Fink talking about the SEC fast tracking the approval of the tokenization of bonds and stocks. The blockchain revolution is incoming. Big shout out to Bank XRP for this. Check this out.
As a huge believer of crypto and blockchain and tokenization, I want the SEC to rapidly approve the tokenization of bonds and stocks.
Now, once that does happen, right, we will start to see, that's like the first $100 trillion plus tokenized. I mean, this is where we start to see the big revolution begin. It's already starting slowly but surely. Things have been pretty slow so far. But when we really start to see the big push, we're talking about the first trillion tokenized. And I've always stated this on this channel. The snowball effect to 10 trillion and to 100 trillion happens very fast. Now, over here, we also have BlackRock just filed with the SEC to launch tokenization fund. This goes all the way back to March of 2024. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, the next step is the tokenization of financial assets, and that means every stock, every bond.
And we believe it's so important to be anticipating the next move. I would also say on the beginnings of a ETF Bitcoin, we believe ETFs are a technology no different than Bitcoin was a technology for asset storage. We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities about bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. I believe if you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment who is the owner of that stock and it's now time to vote, every individual who has ownership is identified and they can vote their own share.
And yeah, this is what's going on right now, and it's starting to be enabled by the biggest players in this space, and that does include BlackRock. And remember, BlackRock's not just some small name. No, this is the largest asset management company in the world. And again, when we think about the US market right now, we just got major executive orders around crypto. We're now starting to see a completely different picture painted in the US, where we are now starting to see the embracement, the acceptance, and the adoption of specific crypto projects. Now, one of those projects is Hedera. And remember that Hedera is a big enabler of the tokenization revolution. Here we have just a few tokenization players that are on Hedera, okay, which we've talked about a few of these, but this is barely scratching the surface. We know that there is a ton of additional players tokenizing on Hedera, and again, you could go through this list. You could probably select all of these and select just like a few, but there's probably like 20 plus players that are tokenizing on Hedera. And not to even mention some of the recent announcements like this one with Caps Coalition. This was a big one in terms of tokenization. And this is around like, I believe that this is like supply chain sustainability. Yeah, it's Coalition's Digital Sustainability Disclosures Project. It has a goal of tokenizing the global framework for digital sustainability data exchange and reporting via the Hedera Guardian. So this is a huge one. But then also Voltic, tokenizing $3 billion worth of diamonds, gemstones, watches, and even jewelry on Hedera. $3 billion. Guys, if we go back over here to Red Swan is tokenizing like $5 billion on Hedera. We are starting to see the big shift happen with these networks like Hedera. And by the way, we also had Gregory Bell, Chief Business Officer of the HBAR Foundation, talking about this trend around tokenization. Financial institutions are increasingly adopting tokenization as they navigate a shifting regulatory environment. Here we have about a 6-minute long video clip, but listen closely to what they are discussing here.
Companies and financial groups are increasingly using tokenization to improve trading speed as well as simplicity. Moreover, banks and financial institutions utilizing tokenization to improve processes surrounding bonds, deposit, as well as securities. And BlackRock CEO Larry Fink is a strong advocate for tokenization, believing in its ability to democratize finance and be a transformative technology for investment assets. And with an anticipated favorable regulatory landscape for fintech trends now in place in DC, banks are becoming more confident in innovating through asset tokenizations this year. Joining me to break down tokenization at financial institutions is Greg Bell, CFO at HBAR Foundation. Greg, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, first and foremost, as a new year kicks off, this is the time when there are a lot of outlooks for many spaces within the financial sector. But when it comes to tokenization, give us an understanding of what you expect to see from the traditional financial institutions here.
Well, you know, the blockchain industry really is just evolving at an extremely rapid pace right now. And Hedera, powered by its cryptocurrency HBAR, really is at the center of this technology revolution. And I really say technology because it's not just a Bitcoin story. It is AI, it is capital formation, it's tokenization. And so when we look at at Hedera specifically, it's low cost, it's high speed, unmatched speed, and capital efficiency in terms of the energy use really has it set apart. And that's why we're seeing the adoption from large institutions like IBM, Google, Dell, WorldPay, and many others. Turning to the markets, I would say that we've seen a really great start of the year, heading into this period ahead of into the inauguration of Trump. Bitcoin has appreciated 15%, about HBAR about 25%, and really that's been a validation, I think, of the narrative and the adoption of tokenization and the adoption of these capital formation components. Now, when I see the overall industry, really what I look for is the components that relate to tokenization. We're seeing large banks that are involving and engaging with this industry for the first time. Comments from Bank of America CEO, BlackRock, and others. You're seeing capital formation, Trump token as an example, more users coming into the market, and then the validation of this industry through ETF applications, similar to the HBAR ETF that was filed earlier this year. And so it's a very exciting time for the industry.
And we know that when we talk about technology, technology is what powers this, but at the same time, when we're thinking about heavily regulated industries like financial services or even healthcare, the adoption, the application of technology and innovation does take time, hence legislation. So tell me what your expectations are for the regulatory landscape as we head into this year and beyond.
Well, it's become very favorable, or the expectations are for it to be very favorable for U.S.-specific blockchains. There's been a lot of talk of strategic crypto reserves. That is both on the federal and state level. We're seeing that play out within corporations. We're seeing that internationally. Now, whether that will be Bitcoin-specific or include premier blue-chip assets like HBAR is to be seen. But there certainly is a lot of excitement around that component of the space.
And I do have to ask you about meme coins. So earlier today on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, there was a dog that is the face of one of the meme coins, not the famous one, but another meme coin. So given the focus of altcoins and meme coins, what does all of this mean, not just for the industry itself, but also for both institutional as well as retail investors?
Well, I think it's one of these narratives. Meme coins certainly are driving the awareness and the onboarding. I would say one of the other awareness drivers is really around the convergence of AI and Internet of Things. You see companies like Prove AI and Equity Labs that are working to address questions around how we trust AI systems, agents. As the governments get more involved in the space, becomes regulated, what we're going to see is the importance of tamper-proof evidence of how AIs are being modeled and fed their information. Now, companies like NVIDIA, Intel, they are working and partnering with, empowering some of the largest AI platforms, whether that's OpenAI's ChatGPT or Google AI, and they partnered with companies like Equity Labs to embed directly on their chip level Hedera-based solutions to be able to track and validate every operation that occurs on these chips. So here we have an example of, on the most foundational level, blockchain being used as critical infrastructure, Hedera here, as the base layer for AI, addressing trust.
And of course, last but not least, since you mentioned AI, how do you see this intersection of crypto and AI developing, not just stateside, but worldwide, and what are the implications on crypto?
Well, the implications really are massive. This is a catalyst for this industry. It's institutional. It is core infrastructure. right? And I think we're similarly seeing that in the space and blockchain arena. We've got recently, over the last week, SpaceX launched a rocket that was carrying WiseKey satellites. So WiseKey is a NASDAQ-listed company that really is focused on secure communications, and they're deploying a Hedera solution to be able to provide evidence that information hasn't been tampered with in transactions.
Okay, Greg, well, thank you so much for joining me as we kick off 2025.
And again, this is what's happening right now on Hedera that a lot of people are just not aware of. These things, these moves that are being made in and outside of this entire space. Hedera is in some heavy discussions. Hedera is at the forefront of a lot of these things as well. And, as we look at the next generation of assets, financial opportunities, it's all going to be through this entire space. I always say to a lot of people, I don't even care to invest in stocks. I don't care to look at stocks, because when we think about crypto, tokenizing stocks, bonds, everything around us, why wouldn't I just invest into that underlying tokenization infrastructure? And that's why I look at Hedera and I'm like, well, they already have the tokenization studio. They have the stablecoin studio. They have all of these great things that are, already pushed on the network that are, key infrastructure pieces for this new financial world that is coming. And there's so much left to, go over. There's so much planned. There's so much left to, happen as well. But we are in the beginning stages of this. And I want you guys to be aware of that. And when we look at players like BlackRock jumping in on this train, and we look at SAB 121 getting repealed, ultimately enabling the big banks to jump into this space as well and tokenize, I mean, guys, the biggest moves around this entire market have yet to truly hit. Just wait until you start to see the biggest names going live with tokenization on chain and enabling crypto solutions for their clients. We are early still. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.